Foundations, I'm not going to get too deep into this because, guys, there's a lot to foundations, but I wanted to talk to you about just what you can see to go, uh-oh, that might make the report, okay? All homes crack and settle to some point. I mean, I understand that things happen over time, and you walk into College Hill, every one of those homes has a failing foundation, but they're so sought after. It's what you can live with. What can I live with? I know it's cracked, but it's been here for 104 years. Is it going anywhere? Probably not. So, little things. So like this crack right here. If you saw it while you're walking up, that's a normal crack. That's normal. That's what I call a settlement crack. Now, will I get in the crawl space and look at it deeper? Well, sure. But if you were to see this, you wouldn't say, "Oh my gosh, your house, we need to get." That's a normal crack. That's just what a normal settlement crack looks like. That somebody tried to put some, I don't know what that is, but somebody tried to fix it. But if you see that, I mean, a lot of times we want to see them at least sealed up and repaired because we don't want water to get behind the brick. Again, this is a crawl space I was in. That's a normal crack. That's normal. That's something that happens. It's settlement. What I call normal is if I rub my hand on it and I don't feel displacement, if I don't feel one side sitting out here and the other one, that's what I call normal. Now, if it was a 1/4 of an inch wide, we might need to have somebody take a peek at that. But that's a normal crack, and that's something that you guys won't see, but I at least wanted to tell you about it. Do you got any questions on that? I don't know what
So would that, something like that will have to be like fixed or whatever?
No. I always recommend monitor and seal it. So we always want foundation cracks sealed because water will eventually come into the crawl space or under the foundation into the basement. So I'll show you a way that they do this. So in just a second, I'll show you how they do that, how they seal it. This is abnormal. When I see this, what I always say is, hey, this is outside limits of what a crack should be. Let's have a foundation contractor take a peek at this, or somebody in that specialty. There are 3 different ways to look at how I see a foundation. There's 3 different things your client can do. 1, they can call a foundation contractor, and every foundation contractor in town is going to sell them something, or want to. B, there's a guy by the name of Mike Dimmel, who, long story short, was Kansas Basement Foundations. That's the company Thrasher bought. He was their #1 guy for 30 years. What Mike does is he's in between a foundation person, a foundation company, and a structural engineer. It cost him $250. He comes to the house, he draws everything out. He basically puts a solution to the problem on a piece of paper. Mike's probably 65 years old. Great guy. Then what Mike does is call whatever foundation company he feels can do the best job, and he says, don't send a salesman to this person's house. Don't look at anything else. I want this fixed, and this is how I want it fixed, and they do it because he has that reputation. But he's $250. Then you've got a structural engineer who's 4 to 6. So there's, like you guys give, when somebody says, well, what inspector should I use? You sometimes, maybe you always give a few names. I like to do that too. So IWP Foundation I really like. I think they do work very well, and I think that they are honest. Another one that's outside of what I call normal tolerances, that one too. So when you see that it's been repaired, repointed, a lot of people call it repointing, is where they take mortar and try to make it look, good again. If you see another crack, that means it's continual. It's still moving. And to some degree, it's still failing. When we see that, we always call for further evaluation. Around windows, good thing for you is to see when you see it, when you're walking and you see it separating, there's some foundation issues to this home because the whole brick is separated from the windowsill.
And maybe mold.
Yeah, I mean, we never know what's behind the brick. There's supposed to be air gas behind there, but
That's a gap for water.
that's a huge part. It's huge. It's huge. And this one was a bad one I saw, but I wanted to throw it in there for you. foundation repair. So there's ways to repair every crack. There's ways to repair every single settlement. They've got wall anchors that I'm sure you guys have all seen the wall. Well, have you seen the I-beams? You guys all
Yeah.
know what I-beams are. They usually space those out anywhere from 5 to 6 foot against the wall. And the reason why they put these in is convenience. A lot of times they're easy. The basement's unfinished. If the basement's finished, that's a lot of times when you'll see the earth anchors, because they only have to cut in the sheetrock a hole that big. And then what they do is they put a 12-foot pole through the earth, and on the other side they bury another anchor like that. So in between that anchor and the earth is what's holding that wall back. And it's stabilized. When I see it, I like it. When I see this, I know somebody took the effort and time to say, well, I fixed my foundation. I always bring it up and say, hey, there's usually a transferable warranty with these. Make sure you get it from the seller, because it's usually a 25-year fully transferable warranty. So those are the two you'll see a lot of. Carbon fiber, usually on block foundation. So you know the blocks, like cinder blocks that you guys are used to seeing, like the concrete blocks. We don't see a lot of those around here, but that's what those are for. So if you ever see black stripes down on a wall in an older home, it's carbon fiber, and that's to stabilize the wall. Sealing, we talked a little bit about sealing. So have you guys ever been in a basement and seen little things sticking out of the wall? They fixed the crack. So what they do is they drill that foundation wall, they make a hole big, and they basically stick epoxy inside with a gun. And what it is these tubes go through it. They fill that whole crack all the way through, and then they let it sit. And a lot of times they leave, and they don't, because you don't want to take that tube out while it's wet. And it just doesn't get cut off. So that's fixed. I mean, when we see that, we like it. What we don't like to see is just somebody that took some white paint and said we fixed it. Well, no, you didn't. So